Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Nicklicky. I'm an assistant director at the Wasserman Center for Career Development at the School of Professional Studies. Today's webinar will be discussing how to position yourself for a promotion. Today's goals that we'll cover throughout the webinar will be to identify the difference between a SMART goal and a basic goal, learn the value and differences between a mentor and a sponsor, identify concrete examples to build relationships with your current manager, and understand strategies to develop a strong brand in your current position and company. So the most important first step is really to define your goals when you're looking for a promotion. Are your goals to develop new skills, gain a higher salary, a new title, or is it just for recognition? I mean, that's okay too. Do you want an office with a window? Would you like to move internationally? These are really things you have to think about in defining what your goals are, because the first step is to define your goals before you can actually develop a strategic plan to achieve your goals. And now we get to SMART goals. What are SMART goals? SMART is an acronym for the 5 steps to ensure that you are setting up effective and achievable goals. A number of examples of SMART goals and objectives can be used to help you and develop some inspiration and motivation to get you started. The difference between an idea and a goal is simply that a goal has a plan and you move from the idea stage to the point where what you want to accomplish becomes hopefully a reality. So if you think someday I would like to, let's say, move internationally, this is an idea or a wish, but not necessarily a goal. Ideas have their place in our lives, but it is unrealistic to call them goals without a plan. So really the difference between a goal and an idea simply is a goal has a plan and action items. So SMART goals simply summarize your performance expectations and can help you outline your goals. So you need to spell out these expectations in a practical, quantifiable, observable, and predictable manner. So below are some examples of SMART goals and objectives. I'll explain. So specific, for instance. In order to be successful in reaching a goal, you need to have a clear picture in your mind as to what you want to achieve. So think about your goals in terms of a number or level wherever possible. So think to yourself, I would like to increase sales or cut costs in my new roles. So that really isn't that specific, right? It's not really specific. Instead, think of it in this term. How much sales do you want to increase? So you want to think more specifically. So I'll give you an example. Ed Emuzio, the president of and CEO of Group Harmonics, reiterates that goals are actionable only when they are specific. So think about it in terms of this. I want to cut down my restaurant's operational expenses by 25%. There is the specific. Within the next 3 months, even more specific. And how are we going to do this? By reducing the number of employee shifts from 4 to 3. So if you notice in this example, the specific goal is based on the operational costs of your restaurant, specifically by the 25%, and even more specifically within the next 3 months. And saving the cost of operations by 25% will be the primary target that you have set out to achieve in the next 3 months. So it's very specific. And also, it has to be measurable. What do we mean by that? Goals and objectives are measurable when you can quantify them. How many sales, the dollar amount or number, do you want to make? How much money do you want to save per week, month, or year? You stand to achieve expediency in the pursuit of your goals when you know the exact pace of your progress toward achieving your measured target. So an example of that would be a goal to increase the total number of your guest arrivals in your hotel. would only become measurable if you state the desired quantity by which you would like to increase the numbers. For example, this year the company will increase the annual guest arrivals by 20% from 1,500 guests to 1,800 guests. So very measurable results there. You would definitely be able to measure these goals within your target time frame. And I think this is also important, the attainable piece. So a goal is said to be attainable when its accomplishments are within reach. So set goals for yourself that are attainable. Is the goal something you actually have the skills and abilities to achieve? Is this goal something you're motivated to achieve? Are you prepared to take steps and perform the tasks necessary to achieve your goal? So that's where the action base comes in. As an example, Dave Levinsky, the co-founder and president of Growth Inc., says that when you say, I want to become a black belt in the next 4 months, this is an example of a goal that is not attainable because there is a series of steps involved. It actually takes an effort to attain a goal. And whether your goal is attainable has a lot to do with your willingness and capability to achieve the goal. So instead, a more attainable, realistic goal would be, I bought a new management accounting software for my bookstore, and I want my employees to be trained on how to use this software within the next 3 months. So we're seeing that it is very important to develop goals that you can accomplish conveniently and efficiently and have the steps in place to do so, while also having specific measurable goals in mind. And also realistic. How realistic is the goal? A realistic goal is one that is within a practical range of achievement. So you cannot expect to increase sales by 20% in 2 weeks. It's way too much in such a short time. So instead think increase sales by 20% maybe in a more realistic time frame of 20 weeks. Now that's more realistic. You risk experiencing a lack of motivation when you set excessively high performance targets for your employees or, importantly, for yourself. And the last part of the SMART goal is timely. So think of goals in terms of time frames. Determine how long you will give yourself to reach the goal. Either, measure this in days, weeks, or months, or set a specific date by which you will reach the goal. Mark this goal date on your calendar and display it in plain sight as a reminder. And it helps you keep motivated. So let's give an example. Divide the steps involved in reaching your goal into smaller steps. If you plan to conduct a 2-week training program for your employees, this is how you could state your timely objective. Our training program will commence on Monday, the 18th, 2017. And last for the next 2 weeks. Each employee is expected to attend 1 class per week until the end of the program on Friday, June 29th, 2017. So that is very, very specific with a time-bound date in mind. And SMART goals do take practice, so certainly refer to these examples I mentioned if you're finding it difficult to keep these SMART goals in mind. Okay, and don't do it alone. You want to be able to find a mentor and a sponsor who can also help you develop and lay out your SMART goals. One of the smartest moves any employee can make is finding one or more mentors or sponsors to help guide your career forward. The ideal scenario is having at least one mentor or sponsor within your current situation and one outside of your current employment situation, but within your profession or industry. You may think that a mentor and sponsor are the same thing. However, there are differences between the two. And understanding these differences play a key role in how you may use both types of people in your network to position yourself for a promotion. A mentor is a key member of your network, someone more established in your career or your field who can offer advice, support, and more based on their own experience. Mentors can also act as a sounding board or a shoulder to cry on, or someone you can vent to, offering advice as needed and support and guidance as requested. And many times they expect very little in return. whereas sponsors are much more vested in their mentees, or rather I'd say proteges, just so we don't get confused. They offer guidance and critical feedback because they believe in them. The sponsorship relationship has much more at stake for both parties. It's an investment that must be earned. So sponsorship only works when it's a two-way street. It's not based on them just giving you all the advice and you asking for help. It's based on demonstrating that you'll also deliver outstanding performance, and you've got to consistently make them look good in some way. And usually this is in the form of a boss that becomes your sponsor. And typically trust is at the heart of this relationship. So the person who becomes your sponsor is putting their faith in you and basically advocating that you're an up and coming talent. So they need to know that they can depend on you, because after all, you're walking around with the understanding that they're sponsoring you and advocating for you within their own network. Okay, so this is very important. And a good website to look for is www.womenpoweringbussiness.com/sponsors versus mentors. What's the difference? Okay, so that's helpful. Okay, now the question is how to find a mentor sponsor. Okay, so mentoring is more abstract. A mentor doesn't watch every play and is more likely to provide guidance based on anecdotes rather than tips about keeping your eye on the ball and making sure that you deliver and have a good performance, in the sense that they're sponsoring you and advocating for you within their network. Professionals in all fields can benefit from mentoring relationships, in contrast to a coach whose work is short-term and focused on perfecting specific tasks. Mentors counsel people long-term. The relationship may be formal or informal, so it really depends on your own personal and their personal preference. Mentoring focuses on building business savvy and self-confidence, whereas we mentioned sponsorship is different. It's more of a form of advocacy and marketing. Companies who want to attract customers sponsor events and athletes to get their brands noticed. In the business world, sponsorship doesn't involve brand names on race cars or athletic gear, but the effect is similar, if on a smaller scale. Sponsors are well-respected business professionals in positions of power who have networks or relationships they can call on to influence personnel decisions. A business professional with a sponsor has a stronger chance of getting hired, promoted, or assigned to a coveted project than someone on his own. Think of the sponsor as an advocate in your corner when an opportunity arises in the workplace. Another great site, work.chron.com/coach versus mentor versus sponsors. Okay, so number one, how do we build that mentoring relationship? Sponsorships often arise from deep and strong mentoring connections, says Bridget Van Kralingen. One thing I've found is that if you give feedback to higher ups and share ideas so that there are reciprocal benefits to the relationship, it's more likely to lead to that person sponsoring you. Okay, so that's the example actually of how to gain a sponsor. So think about this. Identify higher ups who inspire you. You don't really choose a sponsor. They have to choose you. So think about that. They have to choose you, but you can improve your chances by first asking yourself, who is it in the organization whose track record impresses you and whose leadership style you'd like to emulate? Then try to stand out and get to know that person. Make your achievements and your goals known to him or her without being too political about it, because people see through that very quickly. So whenever possible, let a potential sponsor see you in action. It helps to keep an eye out for opportunities to work closely with a senior executive you'd like to impress. And you're more likely to attract that person as a sponsor if he or she is very directly familiar with your work. So you have to be in a position where they can see that and see your performance firsthand. So as an example, accompanying sales teams when they call on clients has often led to recommending several female people for promotions, including one just last week. Now that is an example from a person in a leadership role at a sales company. So you think of it in terms of your specific situation. You can also suggest improvements in the way things get done. So many organizations are looking for critical thinkers who have the potential to be change agents. It's basically how plenty of senior executives got where they are. You ask a lot of questions, you learn the art of challenging the status quo in a way that doesn't make people defensive. So that can also help you get noticed by a sponsor and help you get that big break you're looking for. So really it comes down to getting in the right situation and on teams where you can have the potential to demonstrate your work to someone who hopefully may become your sponsor. So that is definitely something you want to work towards. And thinking about your manager. So how do you develop that relationship where you're sharing your career goals not only with your mentors and sponsors, but also with the boss supervisor you currently work with? All good bosses want their workers to succeed because their hard work makes the boss look good and helps lay the groundwork for his or her next promotion. So assuming you have a good rapport with your boss, and if you don't, definitely work on building that relationship so you can talk to him or her about your career goals. You might be surprised at how helpful that conversation can be. So a good way to do that is potentially volunteer for additional tasks. That's a great way to get noticed by your boss and gain also in the meantime additional experience and contacts. So it's a good thing to volunteer for additional project or assignments. And asking for more work also shows your interest and desire to help your department and company succeed, as well as putting a spotlight on your value to the organization. So also think about leveraging your performance evaluation. One of the hardest tasks for workers and job seekers is quantifying work achievements. Keep a weekly log of your results, whether it's how many widgets you produced or sold, how many customers you served, or how many new clients you converted, and so on. Those folks who can document their successes and their impact on the organization tend to get the rewards. So really use your performance evaluation as a way to record these goals and present them to your manager. Also, many organizations tie promotions and raises to an employee's performance evaluation. So during that time of year, it may be the right time to ask for a promotion. Education, skills, training. So those are all important as well to help land you that promotion. So obviously you have the right mix of education, skills, and training to land your current job. But think of this. Have you been continuing your education and your knowledge in your industry? Are you staying ahead of trends for your current job or obtaining additional training that could propel you to the next level? So think of it. Track professional development and additional training, just like on-the-job accomplishments. Create a log and include these activities in your performance evaluation. Okay, so also thinking about, what is your organization's mission? How does your job support that mission? So the most important part of asking for a promotion is preparing ahead of time. When you make the ask, you'll need to prove that you're ready for the next step and that you understand where the organization is going and where you see yourself contributing to that, job's mission so that you can prepare and really sell your value. So thinking in terms of understanding where potential promotions fit in and how you can really contribute to those new roles. And think of yourself as a brand. So really you're a brand, just as, marketers have brands, they create brands for products, you're your own brand marketer. So you have to think of this in the terms, again, of what is a need in your organization and how can you be that solution that they're looking for. Share your successes. Make sure that people know what you've done, the accomplishments that you've already had. Again, partner with others, preferably those in senior leadership positions that can then hopefully sponsor you down the road and advocate for you based on performance that they see firsthand. And then there's always the possibility of inventing a new position through your expertise. Do you have a very specialized skill that your organization can benefit from? And really, how can you implement that? Or discuss ways with your boss that you think you can implement that, and then taking on those roles can lead to a new position. And then there's a few things you can do also based on professionalism. So it's always said that you have to dress for the job you want. So I don't know if you've heard this, but it's definitely something that's been said in many circles and many industries. Just dress for the job you want, not the one you have. And it goes beyond the clothes you wear every day. It's how you present yourself in meetings and at office events, how you interact with staff, both above and below you, and how seriously you take your work. Look at how the people one step up from you look, act, and yes, dress, and start implementing that in your own life now. So be honest with yourself. If you wait until 2 months before you want to ask for a promotion to start acting the part, it won't really be that genuine or convincing. So start now. It's never too soon. And thinking about it in terms of that promotion, it's really a goal in mind that you have to set yourself up for the best possible success in all areas of your professional career. And mainly, a big part of this is also the office gossip or being part of it. Nothing can derail someone's future with an organization faster than negative information. So being involved in gossip in any way is the fast path to end your career with your employer. So thinking of that, you really have to be careful of office gossip. Sometimes you can't avoid hearing the rumors, but choose to not spread them. You can listen, but don't take part. You also never want to be the subject of those rumors either. So make sure that you distance yourself from the office gossip and just figure out a way to exit the situation. Okay. And then a few little tips in mind just to think about, asking for a promotion is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to say just because you asked and you implemented all your SMART goals that the promotion is going to happen the next day. It takes time. So being patient is really, really important. And don't just ask for a promotion. Be prepared. Demonstrate how you've been working up until now and taking on roles that will prepare you for that promotion. And if you're in a small team or company, it's really sometimes tough to be promoted. But keep an eye on the people around you. Which of your coworkers are getting promoted? When? Think about when they're getting promoted. More importantly, is there a common thread among those people who succeed at your office? Pay attention to any signals you can determine from those that are getting promoted. Maybe they're all tight with your boss, or they consistently exceed their sales goals by at least 10%. What gets people promoted in your company? And even if you can't really find a pattern, you can learn a lot about what it takes to eventually move up at your organization by watching the actions, habits, and accomplishments of others who've been successful. So really use that as experience for what you hope to get from a promotion. And then we just want to cover some next steps. So really, we want to talk more in detail about your individualized goals for a promotion by suggesting we schedule, or you rather schedule, a 30-minute appointment with a career coach. You can do this through NYU CareerNet. And that way you can discuss your individualized strategy for a promotion. And also what we mentioned, taking an inventory of your goals, using the SMART goals approach, and also logging your accomplishments and results, as well as your consistent development and training that you've enhanced throughout your time in your job that'll prepare you for that next step. And when you do ask for that promotion, make sure you have your speaking points and practice those speaking points so you're prepared for that meeting or performance evaluation when you do ask for that promotion. And we're located in 3 different locations: the SPS office, 7 East 12th Street, and then the main office is 133rd East 13th Street, and the Brooklyn office, where you can schedule in-person appointments. I want to thank you all for participating. If anyone has any questions, we have some time, so I'll allow for some questions if anyone has any. Okay, if there are no questions, again, thank you for attending, and we look forward to seeing you in our